Good morning, dear class 9 students. Dear students, we are dealing with chapter 6, the golden age of Guptas. And in this chapter, we have to deal certain points which are mentioned in class 9 syllabus, which is given by ICC board. And according to that syllabus for the chapter, we have to go through with the golden age of Indian culture of Gupta era. So the Gupta period is described or explained as the golden age of Indian culture because of the high level of civilization and culture of period. Along with the revival means rebirth or reformation in Hinduism, the power of creativity was unleashed. The power of creativity began in the field of education, literature, art, architecture, science, and at the same time extending this influence beyond Indian's frontier. So these all would call the the new education field were started during the time of Guptas, and they were all started in would call in very big extent, and it influenced beyond the Indian's frontier or beyond the Indian territories. Education during the age of Guptas. Education was given utmost important. So education was one of the topmost, we would call the system started by the Gupta period or the Gupta rulers. This is evident from the intellectual output in various fields like literature, science, mathematics, astronomy, astrology, and medicines. So the Gupta rulers, they encouraged to educate the people in different subjects. So like literature, science, mathematics, astronomy, these all are the subjects which the students supposed to study at the time. There are many centers of learning in cities like Patliputra, Vaishali, Ujjain, Ayodhya, and Nasik. So to get knowledge of these different subjects, the many institutions or the education centers are opened in many towns and cities. The names are given here, the town names or cities names. According to the inscription, according to the ancient, we call the documents, the teachers were learned Brahmins. So teachers were learned Brahmins. So they were given the holy title, that is the Brahmins, who are known as Acharyas and Upadhyas, and sometimes they were also given the title of Bhatts. So this is the great respect shown to the teacher, and they were given the big name, what we call the respectful title. These teachers were supported by grant of villages. So to run their daily life, the teachers were provided grant means donations from the villages called the agraharas given the Gupta rulers, and charities given by generous public. The disciples called Shishyas had to learn 14 sections of science comprising the four Vedas, six Vedangas, and the Puranas, and Mimamsa, Nyaya, and Dharma, besides, and the Sahari, Samhita, and the Mahabharata. So these are the subjects the students supposed to go through with and to learn about these all we call the epics, and the ancient we call the Vedas. In the Gupta period, the Jains and Buddhist system of education assumed a different dimension. So Gupta period had something different we call the beginning of the education. So there's a different we call the way of spreading education in Gupta kingdom. Buddhist monasteries admitted students for 10 years. So Buddhist monasteries means the monasteries means the living place of the Buddhist monks. So in these Buddhist monasteries, the students were kept for 10 years and learning began with the oral method. So the students were started we call the teaching, or they were given first of all the learning method where they could learn something and they can orally present it. Later they shifted to reading of literary text. The monasteries had libraries. So these all monasteries were having libraries. Important manuscripts or ancient books were copied and stored. Students from other countries like China, Southeast Asia came to Buddhist monasteries for education. The monasteries were normally maintained by grant from kings. So the monasteries were maintained by the donations from kings and the rich mercantiles classes, and by the rich merchant class who provided the huge donations to these all monasteries to be maintained. They attracted scholars from far and near. Fayan also spent several years in the monastery at Patliputra studying Buddhist religious books. Higher education was given equal importance during the Gupta age as evident from a number of universities which existed during this period. So the Gupta rulers, they gave very much important and they focused on developing many universities. So we can see during the time of Guptas there are so many universities established by them. The two popular universities were Taxila and Nalanda. The Taxila University was one of the first few centers in the world which offered higher educations. This university was, however, established before the Gupta Empire came into existence. So, the Taxila University was one of the world topmost education center, or we call the university, and this particular education center was established before the Gupta era or Gupta period. Now, Nalanda University, it was the most renowned or well-known educational institution of ancient India. It was located at Nalanda in Rajgira in Bihar. A lot of information about the Nalanda University is given in the inscriptions, in the old documents, and in the account of Huansang, the Chinese Buddhist scholar who visited India during the reign of Harshavardhana. The University of Nalanda had imposing buildings. So, University of Nalanda was having the big building. There are at least 8 colleges built by different patrons, including one by Balaputra Deva, king of Sumitra. According to Huansang, the whole university area was enclosed by a brick wall. So enclosed means, so it was walled from everywhere. This university is walled from everywhere. The Nalanda University provided various facilities to the students for their studies. There are 3 great libraries called Ratna Sagar, okay, Ratno that's Ratno Dadhi, Ratnaranjak. So these are the some important libraries of Nalanda University. Now there were more than 10,000 students and teachers. So that was the we call the strength of the students in this university. They came from Korea, Mongolia, Japan, China, Tibet, Ceylon means Sri Lanka, and various part of India. So the students from different countries were studying in this university, and the students of the subjects of the study at Nalanda universities were all the four Vedas, logic, logic means reasoning, grammar, medicine, Sankhya, yoga, Nyaya, and the Buddhist work of different schools. Nalanda University was not an ordinary university. It was not a simple university. It was a postgraduate. That means it used to provide or used to give the degree of MA and BA. And here the admission for the students was very difficult. It was not an easy uh, task for the students to get admission in this college. Before admission, an examination was held in which hardly 20% students passed and the rest were rejected. That means the new students who wanted to study in Nalanda University, they had to first go through with the entrance exam. And in this entrance exam, only the 20% of the total number of students used to get pass, and then rest were rejected. Only the most brilliant were admitted in the university. So in this university, only the selected and the brilliant students got chance to study. Nalanda continued to be a beacon of light up to 12th century, the center of light in the education area up to 12th century AD, when it was destroyed by Muhammad bin Bakhtiar Khalji, a general of Muhammad Ghori. Today only the remains of its magnificence and glory can be seen. So today this is destroyed by Muhammad Ghori's general, and today only the remains are there. Now let us talk about the science area. In this science area, what were the contributions of the Guptas? So in this topic, let us deal with some of the scientific knowledge and the discoveries and the we call the innovations. During the Gupta period, great contribution was made in many branches of science like astronomy. Astronomy means the study of the planets, medicine, metallurgy. Metallurgy means it is the study of the metals, and the other many more things. Varaha Mihira was great astronomer. So Varaha Mihira was one of the great astronomer. He proved that moon rotates around the earth and the earth rotates around the sun. So he proved it many more years before that the moon rotates to the sun and the moon rotates to the earth and earth rotates to the sun. The Brihat Samhita of Varavihira deals with astronomy, botany. Botany means it is the study of we call the planets. Sorry, not planets, the plants and so on. Natural history and the physical geography. Brahmagupta was a mathematician and astronomer. He described the law of gravitation several centuries before Newton. Metallurgy of the scientific study of metals had reached an advanced stage during the Gupta period. So metallurgy means the study of different metals, and in the time of Guptas, these all we call the educations, because the level has developed very much. This is evident from iron pillar at Mehrauli near Qutub Minar in New Delhi. Charkha and Susutra were famous scholars of Ayurveda. Now let us talk about Aryabhatta, one of the well-known scientists of our country. He was a great astronomer and a mathematician. He flourished during the reign of Gupta dynasty. His two famous books, including Arya Bhattyam and Surya Siddhanta. His main achievements were the following. So Aryabhatta wrote two famous books. They are Arya Bhattyam and Surya Siddhanta. And he has many more achievements. First, he said that the earth moves around the sun. It was several centuries before the Europeans said the same thing. So Aryabhatta has already declared many more years before that the earth moves around the sun. Number two, he discovered the rule for finding the area of triangle. So Aryabhatta discovered the rule for finding a area of triangle. It is in mathematics. Number three, he calculated the exact value of pi was equal to 3.1461. The credit for development of trigonometry should actually go to him. So the development of trigonometry also has been done by Aryabhatta. Number four, in his work Surya Siddhanta, he explains the exact cause of the solar and lunar eclipse. 5. Aryabhatta was acquainted with the decimal system and use of zero. So Aryabhatta was the person who discovered the decimal system and the use of zero. Now, in the cultural area only, let us deal some more points. So let us talk about the culture. The Gupta Empire was a well-organized state under a succession of versatile and mighty rulers who led it from one point of achievements to another. There was political stability, so trade and commerce flourished. This economy prosperity allowed people to pursue various arts and craft and literary activities. So, the economically, people in Gupta period were very strong. That's why, due to we call the economical sufficiency, the people of other time they also focused on different works like art and craft. Thus, thus the ideal conditions available in the Gupta age led to the unprecedented development of Indian culture. So, unprecedented means unstoppable development made in Indian culture. During the Gupta period, temples were built which elaborate details, which explains details. Unlike the earlier period, when wood or other perishable metals was used for temple construction, the temple in Gupta period were built of solid material like bricks and stone. Now let us talk about the Vishnu temple at Devghar. The Vishnu temple, also called the Dasamatara temple, is one of the finest example of Gupta architecture. It is about 1 25 kilometers from Jhansi in Uttar Pradesh. It is one of the earliest Hindu stone temple to survive till date. So, Vishnu temple exists still today. It was the first North Indian temple with a shikara or tower, although a part of it is disappeared. So, some part of it is not seen or it disappeared. In spite of its dilapidated condition, we call dilapidated means still in a bad condition, the temple has a compelling presence. It was completely made of stone and bricks. The temple was built on a 1.5 meter high platform. For stairways outside, the platform provides access to the temple. It, its exterior outside is decorated with scenes from Ramayana. The entrance and pillar were adorned with countless paintings and carvings. It is dedicated to Lord Vishnu, the god of preservation, who is shown asleep on the coil of the giant serpent called Sesnaga. There was an outer wall around the temple. So, this is the we call the beauty of Gupta architecture. So, dear students, today we will talk up to this point, and whatever things I explained to you in these points, you please go through it and try to understand the points. Thank you.